Well, I just hey, sorry, we went away there for a second there.
Yeah, technical difficulties. My bad.
Well, just tell me the broadcast I'm watching is ended. What's going on? Like, yeah.
What the fuck? What is happening?
That's Siri. That's Siri going like, "Oh, did you say something?" Like, shut the fuck up,
Oh
Siri.
God, that's the thing about cell phones that drives me nuts.
Yeah, sorry about that. Let's see you do that.
Anyway, so we're back. I know it's just some guy that I became friends with on Facebook. I don't think I've ever met him. I met him once, and he was just, and it's all like that, like super woke progressive shit. You know, like what you were talking about with the whole like, oh, if you want us to work, then you should pay us a living wage. And I'm just like, and it's just like shit like that. And
That part, you know, the thing
and
is,
Trump is terrible. You know, it's just like, ugh, get out of here.
This is the weird thing is when folks are pushing from the restaurant industry and they're working fast food.
Yeah,
I'm way more behind that but when I know if it's servers and bartenders, I'm like, shut the. I know you make way more fucking money than that.
Yeah.
You know how many servers and bartenders? Do you think every server and bartender actually claims how much money that they make? Because you're fucking crazy if you think that they do. They don't.
I mean, Dave, let's be fair. They spend a lot of it.
No, Drew, it wasn't. It was actually on our streamer thing crashed, so we had to bring back up.
No, let's be fair, Dave. Those bartenders spend a lot of money on important things like Coke.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's exactly. You know what?
I mean,
I would be way more behind it if they say we need more money because Coke doesn't buy itself.
That's right. It's a hassle. You gotta talk to people. Yeah, it's whatever.
No, but have you ever had to deal with a Coke dealer? It's fucking nightmare, guys. We need that extra money.
But all you woke idiots that are talking about that kind of shit, well, keep on talking that shit when all of a sudden all these businesses start going under, and then at the end of the day, there's no jobs to be had anymore, because you wanted to act like a lazy entitled 30-year-old who's like living in your mom's basement who never had a job in his entire life, and then goes, "Oh, I don't want to fucking do that." Well, now you can't, motherfucker. It's over.
And it's, you know what? And this might actually be a good thing because like I've had. Sometimes this is the thing. What's great and what's horrible about working in restaurants is that if you have somewhat of a personality and you can multitask a little bit, you can learn how to work in a restaurant. You don't really need a degree, and you can find a way to support yourself and all this stuff, and that's really good. Some folks who get really good at it, they make really good money, and they're like, "Oh, this is awesome." But the thing is that like the beginning 5 minutes of waiting and the last fucking montage of that movie waiting are exactly. It's just like shot, cigarettes, boom, and then you pass out, you wake up, you do the whole thing again.
Yeah.
I went from like 19 to 23 and had no idea what the fuck happened.
Yep.
Because I was just going out every night and I had a blast. It was fun, but there's folks who've been in there for like 20, 30 years, and it gets to a certain point, especially when you're 30s or 40s, and you're like, I don't want to wait tables anymore, and I don't want to be a manager, and I don't want to do any of that shit, right? But now, like, you don't have any other skills, and you're going to have to start all the way back at the bottom. Nobody's going to start you out at 52 for an unskilled person. So
yeah, and here's another fucking thing. What's that? What do you say?
Oh, he says that movie Waiting is mandatory to have work there at IHOP.
Yeah, fair. Yeah. No, there's also a thing that no one's talking about that is, you know that these skilled jobs were like, yeah, you got to go to college, but it's like a trade school thing in 6 months and you're in it. And a lot of these places will actually pay for it. Shit like plumbers, electricians, pipe fitters, shit like that. What else? Welders, like shit like, like construction, not construction gigs, but like really like intense laboral, but like needed things in society. We are like dirty jobs type of stuff.
Yeah.
They are desperately low on people. They need people badly.
Yeah, transportation's a big one if you can handle not smoking weed.
And you can make good money. You can make great money doing that shit.
I mean, yes, you can't smoke weed anymore, but guess what? There's plenty of legal drugs you can do and still make a great living.
Like mushrooms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for a CDL, they're pretty tight, but just like, hey,
dude, they have to do a spinal tap on you to get found out if you had mushrooms.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's like the one you can get away with.
Oh, okay. Hey, that's what we should do. Anybody who has a semi-truck, we're going to do mushrooms and try to drive a truck.
It'd be great, man.
Send it to mansplaining69
fucking
gmail.com. We'll be there.
I'll teach you how to lock up them brakes, and you see like what looks to be your 5th grade teacher who died 20 years ago in the middle of the road.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, yeah, we started going back in the rants again. Let's go back. So
yeah.
The empathy thing that we were talking about, because there's been some, obviously not mentioning any names, but I think in almost every comedy scene in every city, I would venture to guess that there's at least one suicide per year.
Yeah, we're a sad group.
Yeah, it's if I'm cleaning someone's poop, I'm doing drugs. Sorry. No, you see, you could do that as a plumber, Drew. No, but I mean, like this. So mental health issues are really, really obviously are pretty prevalent in the comedy scene because they're all for the most part broken toys, right? And
we all are, yeah.
And we try to figure out a way to make it work. Some folks just it's sad. Not every. It would be great if everybody could learn could find a way out of depression and mania and all this other stuff, but not everybody does, and it's fucking horrible because it leaves a bunch of people behind that are trying to figure out what the fuck happened. And I get that. So, without delving so much into what we end up seeing pretty much every time this happens, or like when mental health issues become in vogue on social media, there's a phrase we always hear: reach out.
Yep.
If you're feeling depressed, reach out. Know that people love you. Go ahead, talk out. I'm like, and I get that. That's nice things to say. But if you knew anything about depression, do you understand that is like, you know what? If people knew that people love them, they wouldn't be fucking depressed. That's the whole thing about depression and mental illness, is that you don't see the shit that's going out there.
That is the...
Yeah, that's what Drew just said. The major symptom of depression is the ability to not be able to reach out.
Yeah, and that's also the equivalent when you say reach out. It's the equivalent of like how people get mad when you say thoughts and prayers.
Yeah.
Same fucking thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's the same fucking thing.
So trying to be empathetic to the people who say that, but maybe don't know what exactly was they're saying, because you mentioned this a while back. It's almost like you're putting the onus, is that what the word you said? You're putting the onus on them, like, you guys need to reach out, then we'll be able to help or something like that. But it's really tough, because if you didn't grow up around it, if you don't know what it looks like, it could be more like somebody could still be putting on a good face and pretending that they're being, that they're happy for the most part, but they're still suffering from depression the entire time. And and if you don't know what that looks like, you're not going to see it. So one of the things with the notes that we had is that I think, so there was a question from somebody who put a post up, like, I don't understand how somebody can do that to themselves. And I'm like, okay.
I can.
Right. So, but the question, this is something that I kind of learned from theater and like character work and stuff, is that, okay, you would never hurt yourself or kill yourself. Okay. But we use what we call in theater the magic if, meaning like, well, what if you did? Like, you don't feel that way, but what if you did? What would it take for you to get to that point? And that's the whole point, as far as like as far as empathizing, like, holy shit, what are they going through? Because I can't imagine not knowing that people care about, okay, well, what if you didn't? What would that feel like?
Yeah.
What was, how would you try, the isolation, it's kind of, I think if you can do that, if you can actually understand where folks are coming from, or at least try to empathize, you'll be more, you'll be in a better position to actually talk to somebody who is suffering from mental health. Like, the funniest thing was, and by the way, nobody in Denver laughed at this joke when I put it out, but I remember when Kanye went to the White House and he went on that rant, and Trump was just sitting there like smiling. He was like, "I'm gonna get so many hits off of this.
Yeah,
people will be talking about this for days. I can actually grab another vagina and nobody will know." Thank you, Kanye. I love you. So, but the whole thing is that I saw so many people that were like, "Fuck Kanye, fuck all this other shit." Yeah. At the same time, that week was Mental Health Awareness Week, where everybody on one post was like, "Guys, reach out. We can do better." All this other stuff. Oh, fuck this guy. So
yeah,
like,
he's crazy.
Do you not know what mental illness looks like? Because that's exactly what a fucking manic episode looks like. He's just going off and off and off, And
well, the funny thing is, like, he does those things, but then like you start thinking about what he's saying, and it's like the Alex Jones effect. We're like, wow, this guy's crazy, and then like you break down what he's saying, you're like, oh, he kind of has a point, but he's just wrapping it in crazy nonsense.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you had a crazy uncle that just talked a bunch of shit all the time, Alex Jones makes way more sense to most people. Like, this guy doesn't mean, like, no, you got to understand, he's talking about, like, he's making the frogs gay. Oh, I mean, are they altering the biology of the wildlife?
Yeah.
Is that what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, they are doing that, but you wouldn't get that because all you're hearing is, they're making the frogs gay. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. But what does Drew say? The great thing about being able to make movies is that you can find a way to portray that, it would probably one of the scariest movies in the world, to watch someone who's depressed and sad and trapped inside of themselves and make it a great movie that people would understand. I'm trying to think of one that comes to mind, but it's...
What's that, Internal Happiness in a Spotless Mind or something?
Oh, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
That's what, yeah.
I watched that movie once, and I loved it, and I'll probably never watch it again because it hit, like, that type of fucking crazy, self-destructive habit that that Jim Carrey's character had. I'm like, oh, that shit seems way too familiar. You know?
Yeah, because you go through bad breakup, you want to scrub that shit from your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but the reason why we're talking about this is basically trying to give an idea. Like, the more you could practice empathy, not necessarily, you're not using it as a way to excuse other people, but at least trying to find the point of view of the people that you disagree with or that you don't understand. Because I think just blocking everybody out that you don't agree with is not going to do you any favors.
Yeah.
That's how you become the crazy cat person that likes to argue about everything when you go out to restaurants and stuff. Why? Because nobody else will fucking talk to you, and that's the only way you can get attention.
Yeah.
Like, seeing that shit, there's going to be more of that shit in about 20, 30 years. But luckily, because there won't be any servers anymore, so it's not going to matter. So
Yeah.
you're just going to argue with a robot who's just going to gas you and then send you off. So
be like, Carl's Jr. is going to take your baby away.
Carl's Jr., fuck you, I'm eating.
No, I mean, yeah, and I mean, when people do that shit, it's not like it's an overnight thought. They've been thinking about it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And when they do it, here's the thing I have about people who say they're going to do it and then they don't do it. As far as like they just talk about it constantly.
Are you half-assing it? Or?
Well, yeah, come on, fucking sack up and do it, motherfucker. No, I'm joking. Don't do it. Actually, what's weird is I was in that boat for like a good solid 2 years. Like, I remember one time vividly doing a delivery to one of the skyscrapers here in town. I'm like 32 stories up, and I'm waiting for the lady to come, and I'm like looking around, and I see like this big chair, and I was in a bad mental place. I was like weighing it to see if I could throw it through the window and then jump out the window.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was like picking it up. I'm like, I think I can do this. Like all seriousness. And then the lady turned the corner, like, oh, hi. And I'm like, oh, hi. Because like, shit like that. And like,
every delivery, you're not the first person to do this.
Yeah, probably not. There's been like a mountain of dead Uber drivers, or Uber fucking eats people down on the street when I walked in. So it made sense. No, and there's a couple times too when I first moved here and couldn't find a job and this and that, and it was getting weird. And like I remember I stopped paying bills. I stopped paying bills, and I just started being like, fuck it. And I had like a date already lined up. And I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then then I was like, and then like it's the weirdest thing that will talk you out of it. Like, really? Like, oh, I don't want to mess my car up. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to like there's a deposit on this house, and then they're going to want to move out because there's a dead guy in here. Yeah. And they're not going to, then they got to pay for the fucking cleaning of the tub. They got to buy a new tub. Right. Like all kinds of the weird, like I'll make my mom cry. They don't want to do that. Oh, jeez.
Which was good that you actually still, you cared enough about what other people.
Oh, yeah. But like that was like the last second. I was like, oh, yeah, no, let's not do this. This is not a big,
the worst I ever got to that was a horrible breakup in New York, and I bought like 2 boxes of sleeping pills.
Oh shit!
And I was thinking about it just because I didn't want to die. I just wanted the pain to stop. I didn't want to feel anything.
Yeah.
And as I was about to open this thing up, that's when my mom called.
Oh.
Like just out of the blue, and I was like, holy shit! Then I ended up leaving New York, and they're like, you need to come home or something.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, but. So,
but yeah,
I was lucky that somebody psychically reached out. I guess, but
that was just the universe. But like the thing is that,
yes, exactly was. But it's okay, Drew.
It's not your fault, man.
That's not your fault. That was my fault. And listen, I actually emailed or messaged that person on Facebook, and to say because just owning my part of the whole fucking craziness, and she responded, and everything's fucking cool, man. It was just it's one of those things.
But the thing is that like you're in a weird headspace, and like the last thing you want to do is talk to people because you assume everyone fucking hates you.
Yeah,
that's what you assumed. Like they all think you're shit. They all, you know what I'm saying? They all think less of you. You did blah 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 blah. So like you just don't, So that's why you're like fucking. Why would I bother? You think I'm a fucking dickhead anyway. You think I'm a clown. So why the fuck would I even talk to you?
Or nobody's gonna give a shit anyways and stuff.
Yeah, or they're gonna fill your head full of bullshit platitudes like life's worth living, man. And all this bullshit. But actually what snapped me out of it was COVID of all things, weirdly enough.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like...
great, I don't have to do it now. This thing will do it.
Yeah. I'm just licking lampposts and fucking barehanded high-fiving homeless people in the fucking street. Exactly. Sticking random people's hands in my mouth. No.
Like a toddler?
Yeah. No, I want to see what this place looks like after this is all done.
Yeah.
That's kind of that's why I'm like, nah, I'm good.
See, nobody thinks of morbid curiosity.
That's what's keeping me alive is morbid curiosity. So yeah, I mean, and the fact that I've gotten better at stand up, so it's gotten funner and all that stuff, and I've got some friends around me, so it's like it's nice, but like, yeah, I mean,
it could be weird. It's easy to get into into a dark place, and there's a lot of folks if you've never really been in that. There's sometimes I think folks are in it and they just don't know it.
Yeah,
and it's there's this great movie that it's one like they filmed it and they animated over it. It was called A Scanner Darkly. And it had Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder, Woody Harrelson's in it.
That's the one that's got like this. It's like the shot all strange.
Yeah,
It
is. Robert Downey Jr.'s
It's like
in it.
cartoony, but like
exactly.
But it's actually live action.
Right. And so there's this whole thing where he's like this agent, and then suddenly it gets to this weird point where suddenly Keanu Reeves, like his brain and mind is gone.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't have like whoever he was and stuff. Like it went from like he's sliding, boom, everything is gone. And one of the things that was so interesting, why I love that, they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, yes, it does, because when you're an addict, you don't realize exactly how fucked up you really, really are.
Yeah.
Until it's almost you get to this point where for most folks, and in his case, he was too late because his brain was gone.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing about you're like, wait a second, I knew I've done some bad things. I didn't realize that I did 50 bad things.
Yeah.
Holy shit, So, empathy is a good way. If you say you really want to reach out, the depressed person is not going to reach out to you. You have to reach out to them, and one of the ways you're going to have to use empathy to do with it, to deal with it, because like the moment you start coming down, like you need to do this, you need to do that. I'm like, well, they already hate themselves. You're just reaffirming that shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's tough. It's tricky, and but it can be done. And so hopefully, I would love it if the comedy scenes would instead of every year, it was like every other year that somebody passes away. You know, it's I don't want anybody to pass away out of the scene. I don't.
Yeah.
But it's just it's fucked. And granted, I'm not talking about. The reason why I'm not mentioning this person's name is because one, I didn't know that person very well.
I think I might have met him once or twice.
Yeah, I might have. But
I knew friends of his better. There's a lot of people that I know who knew him pretty well.
Yeah, and they seemed pretty broken up about it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Like from what I understand, he was a good person. But the whole thing is that I don't know all the extenuating circumstances that was going along in that person's life.
Yeah, and I mean, I was actually Facebook friends with him, and we really didn't. I mean, I didn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could see it coming. This one you didn't see coming. I think the last post he made was like he was thanking some barista for making him like a specific coffee that he really liked.
Yeah.
And he was like shouting around, being like, "Oh, you always know what I like." And I think that was like the last post he made.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it was just like boom. And I mean, we're a fucked group, man. Like we were saying, we just are. I mean, you got to be somewhat fucked in the brain to basically center your life around going up on a stage at a bar or wherever and making people laugh, and then. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not normal. Like, we're not normal people. Granted, I'm doing this shit because I've tried everything else in my life and nothing ever stuck. And I actually do like this art form, and I think it's like it makes me, and I enjoy it, and but like at the same time, like when people are like, I'm funnier than you and I could do what you do, I'm like, you're not as broken as me.
Yeah.
Like you're actually kind of like a decent human being. Decent, we're all decent, but I'm talking like you actually have your shit together. There's no reason for you to subjugate yourself to this.
Yeah, exactly.
So like it puts us in a weird space because we're constantly going up and we're failing and we're succeeding and then failing and we're succeeding.
Yeah.
And it's a weird like it fucks with your head. And then eventually, especially if like you eat shit a bunch or whatever, or like you just don't feel like doing it anymore, you just feel like you're a dancing monkey, then then you start feeling like you're a husk of a human.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like contemplating crazy shit like that.
Yeah. You start buying into your old self-deprecating humor.
Maybe
I am a piece like. No, you were saying that as a joke, and now you believe it. What the fuck?
No, I was one of those people. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah.
So
I just tell funny shit about my life now. I don't really.
Right.
Not like in a fucking. I suck. I'm just like I tell like why can't I just be normal? Like I'm envious of people who just like who lost their virginity at 16, married their high school sweetheart, have 2.3 kids. That kind of shit, of course, 2 kids and a midget, but but
they don't feel the need to ever watch porn. They have no.
Yeah.
Nope, everything's fulfilled. I'm like, wow, that's great. I fucking hate you.
They have a year. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
Boring. I know, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the thought of that doing that for me, yeah, because I got a cousin who does that shit.
Right.
And the thought of having his life, yawn. It sucks.
Yep.
I wouldn't want it.
but at the same time, you're like, oh, that is, I admire the facts of folks who can live that
But
way.
yeah, if you could do, that's the thing that a lot of us fall into is we start talking shit about those people.
Right.
When in reality, it's kind of envious. Like I wish I could just be a guy who makes like 80 grand a year, sits at my house, where he has just, drinks wine with his wife and talks about the school board. You know what I mean? Like, but I can't. I would go in fucking insane. Like I tried marriage, it didn't work for me.
There's the thing you just Drew said, we're not made from normal.
Yeah.
So this is the weird thing, is what I guess, and as we start,
Neither am I, man.
As we start going into third here, but when folks are like, oh, they start kind of shitting on comedians, but he's like, oh, they just say whatever they want. Oh, it's okay because they're comedian stuff. Like, okay, fucker, we're broken people trying to make the best out of what and we find a way to make something useful out of it because we're trying to express whatever emotions that we have and find a way that's palatable. But the poet Buddy Wakefield said to the effect of that every piece of art and creativity that was ever been created started from a place of vulnerability, right? That's one of the things that was true. So when I started hearing folks like, why can't comedians be more like normal people? I'm like, did you not fucking listen to anything that we just said?
Yeah,
we're not going to be normal people. We're trying to create work so that way the normal people can enjoy their lives more. So we can make some sense out of the fucking chaos that whatever was going through. But that sounds like I'm kind of tooting, like, this is the reason why you guys should respect us. But like, it's just, it was one of those, it's a weird.
It's more like just an understanding. Like, I'm not going to shit on what you're doing. You have a mortgage, you have kids, you have a job, you're probably a boss, you're a hard hat, blah, 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 blah. I'm a guy that wakes up at noon, and my whole day revolves around making people laugh at a bar that didn't think comedy was going to happen.
Yeah.
And
I was just going to hear her try to bang fucking Cheryl, but now I got to listen to your dick. Like, yes. That's exactly what we're doing. So,
and then we aspire to do these clubs that people like wouldn't like really. Like,
that's kind of weird. Can you imagine if you had to pay to laugh? Like, there was a bit that I remember watching Orny Adams open up at Stand Up Scottsdale, and that dude's like a machine gun worth of fucking.
Oh yeah,
he's like a Gatling gun of jokes that comes out there. But he was like, "Why are you here?" He's looking at these young people. He's like, "Why are you guys here? Like, you're full of life and joy. You don't have to be here with all these old people who fucking came here so they could pay to laugh. We have to pay to laugh and have a good time. You could just do it on your own."
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, that's fucking great. But
yeah.
All right, so there's the last topic as we're sliding into third. This one was kind of a silly one, but this is I have made this mistake too, and it was how to tell if the person you're dating isn't dating you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun.
Right?
I've had that happen before.
Yeah, so I have had times where there was these like girls that I was hooking up with, and for a while I started to pretend that I was actually dating them because of the frequency of which we were hooking up with them.
Yeah.
Like, we must be dating because we've had sex 4 times this week, and I've slept over at your house at least once. And it was, I'll even, I know I won't mention it. I'm not friends with her on Facebook or anything, but still, it was like, it was my birthday, and I was hanging out with my friends Clay and Amanda, and she was with me and stuff. And I'm like, man, we're having a great time. Everybody's having a great time. And then about a week or so later, I was like, I have never met any one of her friends. She has never invited me to hang out with any of her friends.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want her friends to know who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm dating her, but she is not dating me. And I'm like, holy shit, I had no idea. I can't believe I didn't think this,
I've had that happen a couple of times. It's the worst. Because, like, yeah, like, you've been going at it for, like, 2 weeks. It's, like, crazy. Like, this, like fucking, like, rabbits that just sniffed fucking rhino horn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because, I mean, that's what you do. You have sex with somebody a couple times during the week, and then you move in with them and try to figure out how you're going to live to spend the rest of your life. That's normal, right?
That's how I got married.
Yeah.
That's how that fucking even happened. I banged her on my cousin's couch, and then we went to her dorm afterwards and banged in her dorm, and then when she graduated from college, we were like, okay, you want to move in? Like, it was just like that.
Do not stop. Do not pass.
Nope. And then I wonder why it didn't work.
So that's always a tricky thing. There's certain things that are fairly obvious, and Jake could probably speak to this from example, but because you are the rare exception where you were dating a stripper who was dating you. But I've heard that many times where a guy is like, oh, no, I date this girl, and she's awesome, but, she's got a weird job. Is that she, she's a dancer.
Dude, I'll never talk shit on that.
Oh, yeah. No, remember, let's see. Oh, let's see. I don't know if Dave remembers, but I had the rules of my 20s when I was dating. Don't fall in love with me, and don't introduce me to your friends because I'm not going to fall in love with you, and I'm probably going to screw all your friends.
Yeah, that guy, huh?
Yeah,
All
but
right.
the thing is, he probably got more chicks who were trying to save him and fix him.
Yeah.
Which is a bold move.
Yeah.
You heard it here on Twitch TV, all the young fucking shavers out there. That's so you could try to play the broken card.
Yeah,
and
that works a lot of the times. Not
sadly, it does. I mean, it's good, but it's bad. You know, I mean, I'm just saying it's like it's. I mean, the scoreboard says whatever, but I don't know the way you played the game might catch up with you later. But that's just true.
No, but like I think, but like again with her, it was like actually that's one of the few chicks I dated where it was like I didn't have a trust issue with her.
Yeah, which is really amazing
she was,
because you have massive trust issues.
Oh yeah. If you got a vagina, I don't trust you at all. At all. Even my mom, my sister, none of them.
When are you gonna leave me? I don't know. Like I'm not gonna leave you, Jake. You're hiding something. What is it? You know.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, that's because we had horrible choices in women, Drew. He says, kick me in the ass for that one, because every time I would fall in love, of course, she would just rip my heart out and have it for dinner. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is you never have to be, and this is speaking from personal experience, is that, if you keep picking the wrong type of gals, you never actually have to open yourself up to anybody, really. So,
amen, sir. Amen. Crazy fucks better. Yes, it does.
I don't agree with that.
Bullshit.
I do not agree.
I agree with it completely. Go ahead. But what's your reasoning behind it?
Okay, they're not crazy. They're not better in bed. They're just easier to get in the sack because they have no personality. I know that because I was incredibly easy to get in the sack, and I had no fucking personality growing up.
But
so this is my thing. There's a lot of times I've had crazy good sex with relatively sane girls, and I've also had fucking crazy had okay sex with really crazy chicks, and they thought that they were fucking great, but they like, what? Yeah, I've been with a lot of gals, and like I've seen the different things.
Dan Soder's got a HBO special, which by the way, check it out. It's fucking hilarious. But Dan Soder's got a bit about how he grew up white trash. He grew up poor, white trash. He goes, something about growing up in a broken home just makes you fuck better. It's not that we're good at relationships. In fact, it's the opposite. No. We're terrible at those, but we could fuck like maniacs. We're great at that.
Yeah, it's because you're trying to find any type of love.
Yeah. You're like, fuck it. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, not to pat myself in the back. I could throw the pipe well. I can throw the pipe pretty well, but here's the problem: is if like we're gonna start dating, I'm going to fuck this completely up. Right. There's no,
that's the only way they won't go away.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I think there was a few like 2 or 3 week relationships that I had that should have just been one night stands, but because I could do what I do.
Yeah, my first marriage, that shouldn't have been a marriage at all. It should have been a weekend. That was it.
And it's like a blessing and a curse because the sex is great, obviously, but like then you feel dead inside because like you can't have a connection with anybody. It's fucking the worst.
Like, wait a second, what's this point of having all this great sex with somebody that I can't connect with? Fuck.
Yeah.
I'm going to be depressed. Maybe I should reach out. I don't know.
I should reach out. I'll call you, David.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess the advice that I would have is that sometimes you got to take a step back from the relationship and like, I know I'm dating this person, but are they dating me?
Yeah.
And so that's a good question. It's like, so what is it that they are doing for you? Like, are they there talking? Are you having like good conversations going back and forth, or are they just dumping everything on you, or are you just dumping everything on them? There's little things like that, so that way you don't make the mistake that I made and move in with somebody who you should not be dating. So but yeah, that's all I had to say on that.
No, the dumping thing too is true, and I know that from experience because I have been the dumper and the dumpee. Mm-hmm. No, this is not an anal sex reference.
Right.
It's an actual, like, when you meet somebody, you start hanging out and start talking, you'll just start emptying the fucking war chest about all your problems to this fucking person. And at first, they're like, they feel for you.
Like, okay.
Like, the first time, they'll feel for you. Like, oh, that's And then after, like, the third or fourth time you're hanging out, and they start realizing, like, all you do is complain about things in your life to me. Like, I'm going to fix them.
It's like, you got another tune in there?
Yeah,
you just got to sing the same song all day.
It's like having a jukebox that just plays Burn It Down by Nickelback. Like, you want to hear it once in a blue moon. You're like, oh, I can get into this. But imagine you got to hear it all the fucking time.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to burn that jukebox to the fucking ground.
Right.
I mean, name of the song, but you know what I mean? Like it's fucking insane. It's just you don't do. I mean, you could open up. That's one thing, but don't just keep on going to the well. And I've had other people come up to me and they'll do, comics and stuff. I'm like the weird, unfunny Ferris Bueller of this town. Everyone tells me their problems.
Really?
Because I don't
I'm
rat.
doing something right because nobody's telling me shit, which is great.
No, because I don't rat. So like and I'm open about who I do and do not like. And even if you don't like a person that I like, I'll hear you out. But I'll tell you, like, hey, listen, I like that guy, but if you have an issue with him, I can understand where you're coming from. You should probably talk to him. Like, I'll give him advice like that. But like, they'll come to me because I know that I'm not gonna rat on you.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be like, look at this fucking guy. He's talking shit about this guy. There's a reason. There's a reason why you're doing it. So like, it's because but when it's the same person over and over and over and over and it gets exhausting because it's just like, can we talk about something else, man? Yeah. Like, this is, I know you had a bad childhood. So did I, motherfucker. Like,
what was it? There was, I think, I forgot what comedy it was. Was it? That wasn't Annie Letterman or whatever. She was, I guess the story was that she was doing Kill Tony or something, and Whitney Cummings was the guest host and stuff, and she was like, oh, we've all been molested. Yeah. We've all been sexually abused. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Like, wah, wah. Right. Like, no one cares. I mean, I had some issues, but like, I don't really talk about. I mean, I talk about them sometimes, but like mostly in joke form. But
right.
But I guarantee you, my worst story is just as bad as yours.
Yeah.
If not worse, vice versa. All that shit. But like, it's one thing to be like, to confide in somebody when they're telling you, but like, if you're gonna come over to some guy's house for like to hang out and play like video games, and it's the fucking 15th day in a row where you're just like, yeah, so like, I'm sad because of this, they're gonna be like, why the fuck did I invite you over here?
That's why I've changed my situation when it comes to my day job, because I'm like, I keep bitching about this. I'm almost positive. Like, I would be surprised if Jenny doesn't leave me.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving her every reason to, like, listen, I'm not going to stop talking about this, so you might as well just leave now.
Yeah.
But like that obviously.
I mean, fill her in. Don't be like. I mean, that wasn't a sex joke either, but like, fill her in. Like, what's going on in your life for the day, but like, don't make it a federal fucking case. And
I had to keep telling myself, I'm like, you're bitching about work way too much to your wife. She's got things that she's got to talk about as well. So shut the fuck up and listen. So.
I mean, I had a dating issue. I can't even really call it that. Like, just recently. I'll tell you off the air. It's pretty. It's not that. I just don't want to blow it up right now.
Fair.
But at the same time, like, it would have ruined me like 2 years ago. I'd have been a mopey bitch. I'd have been fucking. What the fuck, man? Now I'm just kind of just let it go. Whatever. Fuck it. The only time I ever complained about it was for roommates, and that was it. Yeah. And then just to get it off my chest, and then like, I see the person around a decent amount, and I don't bring it up. We still talk. I'm not like mad. I don't talk shit. None of that stuff. I just realized, like, okay, whatever, and just keep on going. Like, if you let it affect you, they win. That's kind of the way I look at it. But I mean, but plus, I'm kind of looking at it from this angle because of the fact that I've gotten a little bit of confidence back is. They don't want to date you when I guess they're going to just miss out and doing fucking cool shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, that's to them, whatever, man.
Yeah. Well, I think this is Drew A has got a mountain of dishes I got to make these trainees do, and I get back to work, and I think they're paying me for that at some point. Well, it's probably a good place to probably end it. I think we've got our mansplaining. We've gave you guys plenty of info on the Mansplaining podcast. Go out and be a man. And thanks you guys so much for listening. You can check out the podcast. If you got just the last part of it, you can get the whole audio at mansplainingpod.com. We're on Stitcher. We're not on Stitcher. We're on Spreaker. We're on Spotify. We're on iTunes. We're on a whole bunch of different stuff. So give us a follow or subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and stuff. We'd appreciate it. Don't forget to check out the Disjointed podcast. That's me ranting about other shit. That's another podcast we do. People.
Monday, 6:30 on Facebook. The 6:30 Mountain Time. The You People Show. Me, Bear Quattlebaum, James Fisher, and Anthony's still on sabbatical.
Right.
So.
Right. Oh, I got to talk to you about that. All right.
All
right, man. Drew, thanks so much for being in part of the show.
Hell yeah, man. Go, Drew. Yeah, thanks, Drew.
We'll catch y'all next week. Signing off for Mansplaining, I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
Stay toxic.
Hell yeah.